Hello everyone, this is Anime Heaven X23. Hope everyone's having a good night. This video is going to be talking about the 30 years of the PlayStation name, the consoles, and some games. And basically, whatever someone has come up, joined the PlayStation, whether you joined the PlayStation in the OG one, whether it was the later than the original PlayStation's line when they released the Slim, which is basically when it became the PlayStation 1, they actually went with that moniker. And the PlayStation 1 then was kind of like a portable CD player, the way its look was. Or whether you were first PlayStation was with the PS2, the Fat, or the PS2 Slim, which from the outset, when you look at it, looked like a very cheap DVD player. Didn't look good from the way the original PS2 looked. Whether you came into PS3, whether it was the Fat one, full backward capability 1, 2, 3, or the later models, or the PS3 Slim, or the PS3 Super Slim, or whether it was actually a PS4 Slim, or PS4 Pro. So whatever it is, you get in and comments. I'd like to know what was your first PlayStation system when you came in, and if you were there from the beginning of the current PlayStations, from the 1 up to the 5, like how would you rank them, and the reason why would be like the first question. And for me, the PS console that I enjoyed the most was actually the PS2, and the only reason I'm going to give it to the PS2 or the PS3 is because of an add-on for the PS2, and that was they came out with a hard drive, 40 gig hard drive, but the 40 gig hard drive for the original Fat PS2, that's the only way you could use it. And that came with Final Fantasy 11 online. Because once the Slim came out, you could no longer use that. So it was not compatible. And that was my first MMO. I played that game ended up playing Final Fantasy 11 for 9 years. Started with the PS2, then ended on the Xbox 360. That for me is my favorite PS2 because of Final Fantasy 11. It edged out PS3, and along with this other, and of course you had Final Fantasy 10 on there on the PS2, and 10-2 and 12 and many other really great games. And 3 had Final Fantasy 14, where that originally started as A Realm Reborn. So that for me is my favorite PlayStation 2 because of Final Fantasy 11. If it wouldn't be for that, it'd be PS3 with Final Fantasy 14 and all its other great games like Uncharted and stuff. And then I also would like to know if you were there from the beginning. What did you just get, like the PS1, or actually when it was just called PlayStation? Did you get the PS1 then? PS2, Slim, 3. Which versions of the 3 after the original? Whether it was a Slim or the Super Slim, which was the top loader. PS4, Slim Pro, and of course, a PS5 and Slim PS5 Pro. For me, originally came out with the original PlayStation, and I did own the PS1, which it took that moniker at the end of its life. The portable CD player, which basically what it looked like. That look was a lot better than the original PlayStation 1. Still not a bad little system. My favorite PS1 game is actually Final Fantasy VIII. Really liked that game a lot. And had a lot of the good ones like Alundra, Tekken, Battle Arena, Toshinden, Crash Bandicoot, Chrono Cross, of course Final Fantasy 7 and 9, Metal Gear Solid, Tenchi. There's a lot of also Grandia and stuff like that. There was a lot of good PS1 games. And then the PS2, I had an original fat PS2 I got at launch. And then I also, on launch day, I already had my PS2. And then my friend wanted a PS2, so I was like, alright, what the heck. So I went with him to Sears, and I'm getting another PS2. And I ended up selling that one to a friend who missed their opportunity to get a PS2, so I sold him my extra one. The PS2 Slim, I never got it because to me, like I said in the beginning, it looked like a cheap DVD knockoff, and I just didn't like it. It looked flimsy. So I always had the fat PS2. And of course, because like I said, the PS2 hard drive, which you could use in a couple games and stuff like that. It was mainly for Final Fantasy XI that did well. I know SOCOM and some other games used it as well. And then you had the network adapter that you put on the back of the hard drive in the system to, really add online support, which was really good for SOCOM and Final Fantasy XI, of course. And my other favorite PS2 games, like I mentioned, Final Fantasy X, X-2. You had Final Fantasy 11. You had Tekken. I believe 4 was the first one. Dead or Alive. Metal Gear Solid 2. What would be some other good ones? Killzone. Some of the Tales of games, the old Tomb Raider games. Was it like Angel of Darkness and was it Legend, Anniversary? Those are all really good games. Then with the 3, I had that at launch, the fat one. And then I also had the PS2, the PS3 Slim. And that one actually came with, you could get them on Amazon and stuff. They had, think of like the 360 with this faceplates. It had faceplates as well, which you could take and they would snap on the top of your Slim to give it some kind of cool look. I remember I had Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2. I'm not sure if I had any other ones or not, but I had those for sure. They weren't too bad. I think they were like $15 or something, or $20. I don't think they were too bad. And of course, we had, and then the other, then of course I had, Final Fantasy 14 and got the Final Fantasy, all the Final Fantasy games of 13s. I had Final Fantasy 10, 10-2, Bioshocks, Assassin's Creeds, and the Killzones, the God of Wars, the Uncharted, Tales of games, Amazing Spider-Man, Tomb Raider reboot, and Darksiders, and Far Cry, and Silent Hill Collection, and Mass Effect trilogy. There's just a ton of good games for that system. And then I had the PS4 at launch. I liked the PS4 at launch. Didn't really like the fact that the cover on the top of the PS2, which covered the hard drive, was glossy. So you had to worry about that. Then after a while, they got rid of that and it was all a matte finish. And then the PS4 Slim, it was okay. But the PS4 Pro, I like when they came out with that because it brought back the look of the original PS4. We gave it a little bit like extra tier look to it. And then favorite games on there, PS4, the Ys 8, Final Fantasy 14, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, Uncharted 4, Tekken 7, Soul Calibur, some other good ones. Book of Unwritten Stories 2, Raven Remastered, God of War Collection, Infamous, Second Son, such a great game, and its prequel First Light. Those are very good. There was Killzone there, which was kind of a letdown, the way the Killzone Shadowfall, I believe it was called. Still a decent game. It lost the height of the series with Killzone 3. And then you had Beyond Two Souls, port of it. Then of course you had Heavy Rain, Detroit Become Human. A lot of just really good games for the PlayStation 4. And of course, so far for PS5, I really like Forspoken a lot. My favorite PS5 game. Of course, Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, because I love the Avatar movies. Final 7 Remake. Would be some other good ones. Oh, the Ys 8, Ys 9. Jedi Survivor, Fallen Order. The Plague Tale games. So many good games for all the different PlayStation systems. And I've owned quite a few of all the PlayStations over the years. And I would definitely have to say that the system, I think the best look, actual physical look of the PlayStation, any PlayStation system, for me is the fat PS3. Then followed up by the regular PS5. I'd say the PS2 fat. Then the PS4 Pro, and lastly the PS1. And then of course you also had the PSP, the PS Vita, this accessory for the PS5, the Portal, and then of course you have the rumored, which I'm hoping is true, new handheld for the PlayStation, which is supposed to be a native PS5 base system. And I think if they can keep that, because by the time it comes out, if they can, I'm thinking it'll be like 2026, which is when the Xbox handheld is rumored to happen. they can launch it around then. And you can literally play all your PS5 games you own natively, download them right to the system. Basically have your PS5 on the go. And they can launch it for $300, $350 tops. I think it'll do well. But you can't price it $400 or something for. I think that would really hurt it. But we'll see what happens there. And also, if you've been there from the beginning, were you a person, once the PlayStation systems could go vertical like it was a PS2 with a stand, the PS5 regular, or the stand you had to get for the other PlayStation 3 models, or the PlayStation 4 with the stand, or the 5 with the stand. How did you keep your PlayStations? Were they vertical? Were they horizontal? How did you keep the system, your PlayStation system? Just curious. For me, for the most part, it was vertical, if possible. I did have some horizontal, but vertical was always my favorite, the way to go. And also, if you had a lot of different systems, you want to have them together, depending on your space. Vertical just was a better look if you were concerned about space and wanted to have multiple systems, shown at the same time. In terms of favorite PlayStation controller, it would be the DualSense, which, if people pay attention, the systems really changed with the PS4 and onward. And the PS4 controller, the reason why that changed and stuff like that was because that was actually, the controller was helped design by Bungie, if people didn't know that. So that was one of the the controllers that really started to look. I really liked 4 controller, 5, the DualSense was my favorite, then 3, 2 and 1. And I think my favorite accessory for any of the PlayStation systems was probably the PS2 hard drive, like I said, because of Final Fantasy XI. And I did like the fact that, start with the PS5, where you could actually change with these plates and stuff like that. Not too keen on the fact, though, that you have, for the PS5, you have the plates for the regular PS5, then you have plates for the Slim. Now you have to get different plates for the Pro. That's kind of a bit too much, making someone buy all these different plates for these different models, and they didn't think ahead. Okay, this will work on the Pro, the base PS5, the Slim, the Pro. But the fact that they went from a solid plate to a top and bottom plate, I didn't think that was cool to do, but they did it. So overall, I really, I'm happy that see the evolution of PlayStation consoles from the beginning till now. The only thing I'm greatly worried about is the fact, with their premium system, the PS5 Pro, how you needed a disk drive to truly make the Pro a Pro. Because without it, if you got that and you had all these physical games, well, now you're like SOL, and then you had to, and there's no point in buying them digitally when you already own them physically. So then you had to buy the disk drive to make it truly a Pro system. I think they should have just came out with 2 models again, one with the drive and one without, just like they did with the regular. So I'm hoping the PS6 has a disk drive, but I'm not counting on it. I think they'll probably go with the PS6 as a digital only system, and then they'll come out with their handheld. I think that's what they'll go with, kind of like what Xbox is going to go for. So that right there is my talk of the PlayStation consoles from beginning to end, a little bit of the future, some of the games I liked for each particular system, a little bit of history in there for them. And in the comments, please like I said, please let me know was your first entry into PlayStation. Also, if you were at the beginning, did you get like just a base model when that PlayStation system came out, and you held on to it until it died, or until you got the next PlayStation, or how? I think it'd be pretty cool to know what your favorite games were for all the PlayStation systems if you were there from the beginning, or whichever one you came in. If it was the 2, then the 3 was your first, or however it was. What your favorite game or games were, like just a couple for that PlayStation system. It'd be pretty cool to know. And also, thanks for anyone who's watching these videos. I really enjoyed the support, and thank you very much for it. So thank you for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, share, subscribe. And thanks for watching this PlayStation 30th anniversary video. Thank you again. Take care.